Welcome to InterviewU, where your questions take center stage. You submit the questions, and we interview the professionals. Today, we're collaborating with the YouTube channel at Rose AJ Coates. Rose AJ sits down with Joanna to explore her carnivore journey and her new focus on emotional alignment, her way of giving back to a community she deeply respects.
So watch, listen, and learn all about Joanna Ruth and emotional alignment.
I help people understand what they have learned that they don't remember learning because it was so long ago, and it has never come up in a problem in their life until now. And they can't make that connection. And that's what emotional alignment coaching does. They bring a today problem, and I help them, like we sort of band together and investigate what it is. I know which questions to ask, and they just tell me the information around those questions. And we end up finding a belief that was learned such a long time ago that is not unknown to them, but it was unknown that there was a connection. And when that connection is made, then all of a sudden, the intensity of the problem drops away, because now that you've shone the light on what was causing you to have no control, now you become the parent and you can see the problem and you can make a decision. Maybe that what I learned back then was incorrect. Maybe it's just not applicable. Maybe, like you can make a decision about it. And that decision is very easy. The hard thing is to find what it's connected to. And that's my job. That's why I'm the one that gets paid.
So you and I are both coaches, and I coach women 50 years old and older, and I do general life coaching as well as teaching women that need support around carnivores. So it's kind of like a hybrid approach, right? And I think that diet, whatever dietary protocol you choose, it can promote a lot of healing, but it's your thought processes, how you're dealing with everyday situations. And then
Yep.
sometimes it really is tied into childhood, how that affects you today if you haven't dealt with that. So, with
Yes.
that being said, and you being a coach, share with us. I want to know first, how did you come up with one Curious Carnivore? And then, secondly, how did you get into coaching, and what specific support do you offer your clients if you have a specific way of supporting them?
Yeah. Well, I decided on the title of One Curious Carnivore because after my first interview with Dave Mack, I decided I think it's important to have a carnivore channel. I think it's important because of the perspective that I bring to it. It's quite my perspective is really different to many people, and so I believe that the carnivore community is missing. It has like this little pocket that's sort of empty. There are people out there who are doing everything right physically. They're doing everything right. They've learned all the things. They've watched all the videos, and they're really committed to themselves and becoming the best self version of themselves. And they've got roadblocks that they can't understand, and they're trying to achieve goals and they just can't seem to get there. And the psychology of your subconscious and its effect on your body. Well, it's been my life story, so I understand how there can be such a small little hidden thing, hidden to you, in your subconscious, that's driving behavior in a particular manner. And no matter how much conscious awareness you have, you can't, well, your subconscious is running 24/7, and you're only awake for 8 hours, and you've got other things to do too. So it's your focused energy is very limited, and so your willpower is limited. And when willpower is not enough, then it's time to look behind the scenes and, behind the curtain. And so I'm very adept at doing this. purely because of my history and my profession. It all works together. So I was thinking of what I would call myself, and essentially I am one curious carnivore. So I thought, oh, that sounds good. I'm also a singer and a songwriter, and it just sounded kind of nice. So one curious carnivore is kind of got a bit of a ring to it. And so that's where the name came from. The life coaching, I think I've always been teaching. I think I was teaching before I was qualified as a teacher. I was I've always been very interested in teaching the individual. So I would have a class group, but I would treat it as a group of individuals, and they all have different needs. And I would make it as much as I possibly could in the time that I had. I would identify individual needs in the classroom and try to meet them. And of course, there would be, you'd find one person who has one need, and it helps many of the other students as well. So, I would catch more than one bird with the stone that I would throw. And I've always taught that way, that the individual, I never wanted the individual to get lost inside the group that I was teaching. Everyone was important. I think I've been professionally teaching for about 30 years, and I've been coaching alongside that for about 20. And I've come in and out of coaching because well, I would have stayed in coaching all the time, except that I would step out of it to focus on my coaching myself and developing myself and becoming more adept at what I would learn through the process of coaching people and teaching. I would learn there is something more here in this little bandwidth here that I need to learn more to help people more in that way. And over the past 20 years of testing things out and learning, I'm constantly learning different things to try to work out what is the best, most effective thing for me and everyone else. I've developed what I call emotional alignment life coaching. I offer generalist life coaching if that's something that people would like, which is kind of asking me lots of questions or more pragmatic things, organizational approaches, goal setting, that kind of thing, but individuated. But my biggest love is to do emotional alignment life coaching, and I find it to be the most painless, simplest, most effective method for people to solve a problem. And I think that's what makes the difference in people's lives. I often get the feedback, this is life-changing. And then they find it hard to find time to come back for more coaching because their life is up and going. And I'm quite happy with that because they're really enjoying living their life now. And that brings me the greatest pleasure. I have never wanted any student or any client of mine to become dependent on me. I work very hard for their autonomy. I never lock anyone into weekly appointments or that they must do this or they must do that. It looks like counseling, but it's not like counseling at all. It's the best form of support that I can possibly offer to another human being, in that everyone is trying to make their way in the world and achieve whatever they feel is important to them. And when they're trying beyond a reasonable amount of effort and their life is knocking them back all the time, then they really just need a way to find out, what is that all about? So it's really, it's somewhat an educational process. And almost every client wants to know, how do I learn to do this for myself? So they go through the process, the emotional alignment technique that I take them through, and they have the change happen, and life has gone back to what they thought it should be in the first place, but it wasn't being, and then all of a sudden it becomes normal, what the realistic normal is, and they can just do their normal life stuff. They're very happy with that. And then they may come with another issue, like, so everybody has multiple issues going on in their life, and they often will ask me, how do I learn to do this myself? I say, well, you got to practice. So you have to practice doing it. You have to, people always think they don't know enough, and it's like they don't understand it. It's like, it's not about the answers, it's about the questions. You have to learn what the questions are. You have to learn what the right questions are. And when you can ask yourself the right questions, the answers just come. It's like a magic key. You have to find the magic key, and then the door opens. And I just have had a lot of practice finding those magic keys, and I know what they are. Yeah.
I hope you've enjoyed our interviews, and thank you to everyone who's submitted questions so far.
If you've got fresh ideas, leave your questions and comments below, and we'll get to work on them.
Bye for now.
See you in our next set of interviews.
Hello, I'm Joanna Ruth, but you can call me Joanna. I've embraced a carnivore lifestyle increasingly for the past 10 years. Now honing my diet to include meat, seafood, eggs, butter and salt. No plants or dairy anymore for me. With 30 years of experience in education, teaching both adults and children, I've spent the last 20 years developing effective life coaching methods. I now focus on the mental environment as a crucial factor in our health, and I'm excited to share the method of emotional alignment with the carnivore community, another secret weapon to use for our well-being successes. I hope you enjoyed watching this episode. Please subscribe to the channel and email us if you'd like more information about life coaching. Here's a playlist for the entire series. Please like and subscribe, it helps more than you know. See you in the next video.